All right, happening at this moment, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth is appearing before the Senate Armed Services Committee. He's supposed to be discussing his department's budget, but of course, questioning has predictably taken a turn given the escalating tensions with Iran. So let's listen.
I agree with the chairman. Most of what I can or should say would be reserved for a classified setting. I would say the president, obviously, any decisions on this matter are at the presidential level. He has communicated very clearly for quite some time.
I do understand that, Mr. Secretary, but my question for you is whether you have been asked actively to provide options for the president regarding a strike in the Middle East.
If I had or I had not, I wouldn't disclose that in this forum, Senator. My job, our job, Chairman and I, at all times is to make sure the president has options and is informed of what those options might be and what the ramifications of those options might be.
I appreciate that.
You mentioned the troops in the region. Maximum force protection at all times is being maintained.
All right, joining me now is political congressional reporter Mia McCarthy. She's also the co-author of the Inside Congress newsletter. Mia, good to see you as always. All right, so lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are looking to limit the president's ability to order strikes on Iran. Explain to our audience what the 1973 War Powers Resolution is and why we're seeing bipartisan support for invoking it now.
Yeah, thanks for having me. So we saw earlier this week, Congressman Thomas Massie, a Republican, say that he was introducing a War Powers Resolution. This would basically block U.S.'s involvement in Iran. We're seeing an interesting group of lawmakers supporting this. Massie right now, I believe, is the only Republican, but there are plenty of Democrats who normally would not support or side with a lot of Massie's legislation. People like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and Ro Khanna, who is co-sponsoring the legislation with him. Now, this resolution, according to Khanna, is privileged, which means that this will have a certain number of days for it to go to the floor. That could be problematic for Speaker Mike Johnson, who wants to support the president and any decisions that he may make. So there are some dueling resolutions that would instead support Israel's strikes against Iran. And we're going to see those legislations, both of those pieces of legislation, hit the floor next week.
All right, let's turn now to the big, beautiful budget bill. The Congressional Budget Office just said it would add $3.4 trillion to the debt in its current form. We know that important social service programs like Medicaid would potentially be cut. So what's the latest on the negotiations as we get closer to that self-imposed deadline of July 4th?
Yeah, so John Thune, he wants to get this bill passed by next week, but obviously there are plenty of hurdles that he has to get over to get to that point. There are multiple senators who have expressed their, that they are against certain aspects of the bill at this point. Josh Hawley, he has some issues with the current language on provider tax. People like Rand Paul, who have issues with the debt limit aspect of it. So, he's got a few different things to work out. The White House has already been involved. J.D. Vance was at Senate lunch yesterday. Hawley said he talked to the president yesterday. So we're going to be watching those things unfold as Thune tries to make that deadline of next week and as they try to put their July 4th self-imposed deadline in.
All right, Mia McCarthy, always great to have you. Thanks so much for joining us today.